Hello, everyone. Welcome to Good Film Hunting, a podcast about an average couple who are on the hunt for some good movies. In today's world, we are consuming more media than ever, perhaps more passively than ever. But we believe that by documenting and discussing the media we intake, how and what we intake will change for the better. It is important that we don't just become another consumer, but a participant, seeking to engage with the media we consume, so that we can see how our view of the world affects how we perceive it, and how it affects how we perceive the world. In this podcast, we are not only on the hunt for some good movies, but on the hunt for a good discussion. So, lean in, participate, and enjoy. Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome back to yet another episode of Good Film Hunting. James here, and I'm with my lovely wife,
Savannah.
Say that more enthusiastically.
Sorry, Savannah.
There you go.
Sorry.
We are happy to be here. We don't want to sound like we're not happy, because that would be...
I didn't sound unhappy. I shouldn't put enough oomph into it.
There you go. So yeah, we are going to be talking about and discussing Kung Fu Panda 2, number dos, the sequel. So before we begin though, how are you doing tonight, Savannah?
Doing pretty good.
Pretty good?
Pretty good. My hands are very dry.
'Tis the season.
Which is distracting.
It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas.
It's true, so I'm putting a little bit of lotion on them.
Yes, very nice.
Hopefully it's not picking up.
Those juicy sounds.
No, the lotion sounds. Okay, that feels better. I can rest in peace.
You can rest now in peace.
Oh, sorry.
That's good. That's good. Our sink is currently experiencing some drainage issues, so I'm gonna have to take care of that when we're done with this, which is super fun, but you know, it is what it is. But we're not worrying about that right now. We are here and present with what we're doing. All right, so yes, Kung Fu Panda 2. Before we begin with the rest of the episode, I'll just go through a quick overview of the entire episode. I'm gonna start with a list of facts for Savannah that she may or may not know. Then
Always does not know.
Always does not know?
Yeah.
Sometimes you know them.
Do I?
Maybe, I don't know.
Maybe.
I try to keep the facts a surprise. And after that, we'll go over our history and thoughts, spoiler-free history and thoughts on the movie. Then we'll go into the spoiler category. We'll go through our rating system where we have 4 categories, and we'll rate certain aspects of the movie on the scale of 1 to 5. We'll give our overall rating, our individual overall rating at the end. We'll have our Tom Hanks section where Tom Hanks has to replace someone in the movie. And then we have to have our impression section now where Bane, we have to do a line from the movie. I have to do a line from the movie, my Bane impression. And one of us is going to do the Swedish Chef.
Maybe.
Maybe.
If you're lucky.
So you have that to look forward to. So yeah, let's get started. You ready for some facts, Savannah?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. What's going to be the first fact I'm going to give you?
Do you know how much this movie was budgeted?
That was not going to be the first one.
Oh, sorry.
But very close. It's up there. This was released May 22nd, 2011.
Oh, that's my Bob's birthday.
Oh, really?
It is.
I should know that. Well, that's fun.
Yeah.
It's her birthday movie.
It's her birthday.
I mean, she wasn't born in 2011.
No, she was not.
That would make her a very, very young mom. It had a runtime of 90 minutes, another pretty brisk runtime. All right, what was its budget? No, now we're at that fact.
14 million.
No, not even close.
Was that less?
Well, what was the movie last week? Addams Family had 14 million.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I couldn't remember. 128 million.
Closer.
130 million.
Closer.
142 million.
Almost.
143 million.
No.
I don't know.
It's 150.
Oh, wow.
150.
I should have known. Animated movies are expensive.
They are expensive. Guess what its box office was?
2 billion.
665.7 million.
Wow, that's a lot of millions.
That wasn't as much as the first one, though.
I mean, understandable.
Yeah, I think the first one had like 800. Was it? No, 700 million. 700 or 800 million. I don't remember. As you know, it stars Jack Black, Angelina Jolie. Seth Rogen is the Mantis. Dustin Hoffman, I think, was Shifu. Can you guess who the peacock, Lord Shin, was? You probably don't remember his name, but it's an actor you're familiar with.
I don't remember. I feel like you told me when we watched it, but I don't remember.
It was Gary Oldman. Do you know who Gary Oldman is?
I only know of who he is because he was in a really cringy movie someone hated. And that really cursed movie about little people.
Little
that
People?
I told you
oh,
about,
yeah,
remember?
that's right. What was it called?
I don't remember.
Oh, Little People. It stars Gary Oldman and who else was it? Peter Dinklage.
Oh yeah, Peter Dinklage. Is that his last name? Yeah, I don't remember what it was.
Oh, okay.
You can talk and I'll Google it because I want to remember what
But Gary Oldman, we're familiar with him. He's in the Dark Knight movies as, what was his name again? Commissioner Gordon.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He did not look like that in that movie that I saw.
Yeah, he was Commissioner Gordon. He was in Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. He had a cameo in Oppenheimer's The President Truman. I don't think we've really seen much else with him.
Wait, so Gary Oldman was President Truman?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Oh, okay, wait. Okay, yeah, it's called Tiptoes.
Tiptoes?
Yes, it's called Rated R. Or it's not called Rated R. It is rated R. But
That's
yes,
not
look
good.
at him.
What?
Pretending
That's so
to be
weird.
pretending to be a dwarf, or a little person, even though he's not.
Tiptoes with Gary Oldman.
Yes, this movie looks really bad.
Okay. So yeah, Gary Oldman did the Lord Shin.
Good to know.
There you go. This movie was directed by Jennifer Yu Nelson, who is the first Asian American to direct a full-length animated film. She also directed Kung Fu Panda 3.
Was she the first woman?
No, she wasn't. Actually, I have that no. The first woman to ever direct an animated movie was Brenda Chapman, and she directed The Prince of Egypt.
Oh, interesting.
But yeah, Jennifer Yu Nelson directed Kung Fu Panda 3 as well. She did Darkest Minds, which is a live-action dystopian sci-fi film. I didn't look a lot into it, but it didn't look that interesting, to be honest. This movie became the highest-grossing film directed by a female director up until Frozen, as well as the highest-grossing film solely directed by a female director until Wonder Woman. It was the sixth highest-grossing film of 2011, but the highest-grossing animated feature of the year. It was nominated for the Academy Award for Best Animated Feature, but guess what movie it lost to?
I'm not sure. I wouldn't
It's
know.
one you like.
Tangled?
No.
What else?
Think very bizarre movies. Very bizarre animated movies with anamorphic animals.
I have no idea.
Think Western.
Oh, Rango.
Yes.
Oh, I mean, Rango kind of deserved to win.
Do you think so?
Yeah.
Nelson became the second woman to be nominated for the Academy Award for Best Animated Feature after someone named Marianne Satrapi. I apologize if I butchered that. For
We'll never hear.
For a movie called Persepolis. I'm actually going to look that up. Oh, it's an adult animated biographical drama film. Okay.
Adult
Interesting.
is never a good sign.
Is it never a good sign? That one only had a budget of $7.3 million. Interesting. So some other fun facts. In 2008, they began on the sequel, which is Kung Fu Panda, which is obviously Kung Fu Panda 2. The original subtitle for this was Pandemonium.
Oh no.
But then they changed it in 2010 to The Kaboom of Doom.
Both of those are really cringe.
And then they just went to Kung Fu Panda 2.
That's probably for the best. But like I said, both of those are terrible.
Also, this became the highest grossing film in Vietnam, surpassing Avatar. So that was really interesting. I don't know if that's still the case, but it was in 2011.
The Vietnamese love.
I love their Kung Fu Pandas. Oh, I love fighting pandas. All right, so now we're moving on to our history and thoughts on the movie. Savannah, what is your history / spoiler-free general thoughts on this movie.
History of the movie, I feel like I mean, I have seen it before, I think, but it's been a really long time. I don't think I've ever seen the whole thing.
Oh, really?
Have I even seen it? I might have just seen snippets of it. I feel like at
Okay.
the third one, I'm more familiar with.
Oh, okay.
But my general thoughts were that I enjoyed it. I liked it better than the first one.
Really?
Yeah, I thought it was more exciting.
More exciting?
Yeah.
Okay.
It kept my interest more.
What about it did you find more exciting?
I just felt like the story was a little more interesting.
Okay.
It pulled at my heartstrings more. Yeah, I enjoyed it. It was good.
Enjoyed it? Yeah, I think this one definitely did not see it as much as the first one, but we were always very excited to watch it when we could watch it. I don't know why we didn't own this one. I just don't think we ever got around to getting it. Yeah, I've always liked this movie. I've always liked it more than the first one. I think that's still the case, even watching it I don't know how many times, whatever time this is going through. Watching it now with a more quote-unquote critical eye, as they say. Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Yeah, it definitely makes you feel things at certain points, especially... I mean, it always has made me feel things, but I think we both can relate to it now, being parents. It gets you different. Yeah, I definitely like this movie a lot, and I have some thoughts that we'll go more into in just a second. So yeah, now we're going to our spoiler-filled section. This will be we'll go through our rating system, where we'll go through starting with our just overall entertainment, the production quality, the overall writing, and then the content. We'll rate each of these on a scale of 1 to 5. So Savannah, what would you give it for entertainment?
Probably give it a 4.
Yeah.
I felt like it was entertaining. It was fun. It kept my attention. It wasn't like the funniest, coolest, most entertaining movie I've ever seen, but it was definitely good.
Definitely good.
Yeah, I was definitely like, this is fun, keeping my attention. It was definitely a little more dark than the first one.
A lot more dark.
It's true, it was a lot more dark. I feel like it dragged on a little too long.
Really?
Which I could go into in another category, but yeah, I thought in general it was good. It was good 4, solid 4.
Do you feel like it was any funnier than the first one?
The funniness didn't really stick out to me that much.
Okay.
I feel like Poe's sense of humor is a little dorky for me. Like, it's not like my favorite kind of humor. So, yeah, I don't really recall like if I thought it was particularly funnier than the first one.
Okay, gotcha. I would probably give this a 5. I was not bored for a second, and probably because I'm not quite as familiar with it as the first one, it gets a 5. Just because I think the type of story it is just appeals to me more as a person in terms of my personal preferences, and the world building appeals to me more. Whereas the first one was just a very specific story for Poe. The sequel kind of just expanded the world a lot more in a way I liked, with more interesting characters and dynamics, and just bringing more elements into it. I thought I like the humor in this one, probably just a tad bit better just because I'm probably less familiar with it. I think there's some jokes that do fall a little more flat in this one, though, because they are definitely a bit more childish in some ways.
Shock for a child's movie.
Well, there's clever jokes that are meant to be funny versus like, okay, that just wasn't super creative. Yeah, I would give this one a 5. I think it made me feel everything I wanted to feel. It was funny. It made me smile. Visually, it was just very entertaining. The action was fun. I'm trying to think if there were any other notes. I really enjoy Lord Shen as a villain. I'll go more into him about what I think about him as a character in the writing, but I just really like his vibes.
Because he reminds you of yourself.
Oh yeah, totally, 100%. I think, I feel like this movie, speaking of being dark, and we'll go more into it in content, but this movie is surprisingly darker than the first one in some ways.
Yeah, I feel like the first one wasn't really dark at all.
Yeah, there was the dark element of like with Tai Lung and Shifu, I think, but like this one, literally the opening introduces us to Shen as the villain, and he commits a genocide on the pandas. It's like, wow, that was a twist. Okay. So yeah, I would give it a 5. Solid 5 for me. Production quality, what would you give it?
I give it a 5.
Okay.
Solid acting, from what I recall.
Those animals are very good. They're trained very well.
They are better than most people. Good animation, I feel like. Mm-hmm. Kung Fu Panda, the franchise, has a very distinctive look.
I know.
To it.
I love it and hate it at the same time.
Yeah, I thought the sound design and everything was good. Lots of Po stomach being punched sounds and whatnot.
It's true.
Almost more than the first one. It might have been a little excessive at some moments. I thought, does the storyline go under this?
No, that would go in writing.
Okay, well, yeah, I have nothing to complain about. Solid 5.
You said you noticed the music in this one.
I did notice the music more in this one. Can I recall it to my memory? No.
I was literally listening to the score the day after we watched it, and she did not recognize it.
Well, I recognize.
It's like, is this How to Train Your Dragon? Like, close.
Close. It is DreamWorks. And it is it Hans Zimmer also? No.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and Hans Zimmer did not do How to Train Your Dragon. He did Kung Fu Panda alongside John Powell. John Powell did do How to Train Your Dragon.
And is John Powell a piano guy?
No. That's John Schmidt.
Oh. Anyway, yes. It was good. 5.
5?
Solid 5.
Solid 5?
Yes, I like to generously give my 5s.
Do you?
In areas like animated movies, I feel like are easier to rate as a 5 because there's less room for error.
I disagree.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
But, anywho.
Anywho.
I would give it a 5 too. I don't disagree with your statement of giving this movie a 5 so much as just your other statement.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd give this one a 5. I think it does everything. I think it improves upon the first one just because the animation is more developed, so the character is a little more, a little less, actually, not more, a little less stiff. And the textures are better, and the scenes are just overall prettier.
Oh, can I interject really fast?
Oh, yeah.
On something I didn't like about the animation.
Yeah.
The weird, like the style of animation they used when they were telling Shen's story in the beginning.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't like that. And I feel like I don't remember if they did that with like the pandas too.
No, that was just like a 2D.
Yeah.
His was more of like, almost like a puppet.
Yeah,
2D.
I didn't like that. It was weird.
You thought it was weird?
Yeah.
Huh.
But anyway, carry on.
Anyway. Yeah, the pacing I thought was very good. The acting was very good. I like that we got more of Tigress in this one, Angelina Jolie. I felt she did good in the first one, but I like seeing her more. In this one, we'll go more into writing later. There were actually some very pretty moments in this movie. I think that I felt like it being a 3D animated film almost made it less obvious. Like, in some ways, I wish this was, to be honest, more like Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. Because there was one moment, I thought that in particular, it was like some moment with Lord Shen. I think he was like practicing how he was going to introduce himself to Po when he first meets him. And just the way the light's shining on him. I just thought to myself, the way the frame was set up and the lighting was very pretty. It was just almost hard to notice because it almost didn't contrast enough. I thought, oh man, if this was like a Puss in Boots: The Last Wish kind of animation, that would have actually looked really cool.
Yeah, I feel like that animation style would lend itself to this movie.
Yeah, because the fighting scenes are very good, but like, it's almost like they're just not emphasized enough in some ways. The choreography I thought in this one was really fun because you got to see more of the individual characters' strengths fighting more of a mass enemy as opposed to an individual enemy with one specific style. I thought like the opening fight scene against the wolves was fun, how they kind of timed that to the music. It was fun seeing the characters working together as a team.
Keeping Poe from dying.
Keeping Poe from... Pretty much. I don't know if I really had any other points. The music I really liked in this one. I felt like the first one... I like the music overall in the series, but I think this one definitely took the themes from the first one and like was able to notch them up based on the circumstances that were happening. I like Lord Shen's theme. I know you probably didn't notice it. I thought the character design, I have a love-hate relationship with the character designs in these movies. It's just, it's very distinct, like you said. You can tell they're animals, but they're just very lopsided.
Yeah, I do not like the design of the pigs.
The pigs, you don't like that?
No, they are really ugly. And very unpig-like. But I guess if you look up like Chinese pigs, that's kind of what they look like. Like
She's looking up Chinese pigs.
In like Chinese art, I feel like.
Yeah. I liked in this one we got more animals. Because in the first one, the village was really just geese and pigs. With the warriors all being different animals. Whereas, I forget the city name that we went to, where the characters went to when trying to find Shen. We got more like antelope, kind of like creatures.
Oh yeah, I remember
and some
those.
couple other things.
I thought of those as kind of like goats.
Well, there was the soothsayer was a goat. Those were, I don't know what those things were, but they were antelope-like, I guess. What did you think about Lord Shen's design? Because he was a peacock, but it was very creative in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I thought he did not look like a traditional peacock, but it suited his evil vibe.
Very pale.
Yeah, kind of creepy.
Kind of creepy.
I mean, pretty creepy.
Pretty creepy.
But yeah, I thought it was interesting. Interesting choice.
Interesting choice.
Interesting choiceage.
Choiceage. All right, so now we're moving on to writing. This includes character arcs, the overall plot, etc. What would you give it for writing?
Probably 4.5.
4.5, okay.
4.75.
4.75, okay.
5.
That's a lot of points.
No, yeah, probably 4.5. I thought the story was well constructed. I'm trying to think if there were any, like, plot holes, and I'm sure there were, but, like, none that I noticed. It was because we got the story of Poe fighting the bad guy with his friends, but also Poe's side story of, like, not knowing where he's from, being unsure about that, but ultimately his relationship with his goose dad being strengthened, and, like, it was, like, family love and such, and I like those things.
Your dad, the goose.
I know, I love that line, because poor Poe, he just didn't know. Yeah, I thought, so I have seen parts of this movie. I do remember Poe coming in like a little radish crate and stuff. Those parts of Poe with his mom, like they pulled at my heartstrings. Poe reminds me of our baby. Baby Poe reminds me of our baby. And it made me very sad in a lot of places, and like very much tear jerked me.
Yeah.
And I thought that was good. Like, I mean, after that, I had kind of an existential crisis.
Did you?
I did, but I thought it was good. I wanted to indulge in more of those sad feelings so I could cry.
Did you?
Yeah, I did not indulge in them, but I wanted to.
Okay.
But yeah, I thought it was good. I thought all of the little side stories and everything pulled together. Like I said, I felt like the defeating of Shen, I felt like took too long.
Really?
It was a little drawn out. Also, lots of red, smoky skies, which is always kind of scary.
Always kind of scary. Did you bring it back to The Last Airbender?
Kind of, yeah, actually. But yeah, all in all, I won't go into all the nitty gritty details because I know you will. But I'll give it a 4.5.
No, you should go into the nitty gritty details if you can think of any.
No, you're better at like telling the story than me. So
telling the story.
Yeah, but I enjoyed it.
Did you feel like Poe, I guess, growth from learning where he was from was satisfactory and a positive message?
Kind of. I don't feel like it did like a lot for his character, from what I recall. But I thought it nurtured his relationship with his goose dad and like gave him peace, which was good. In regards to Poe, I was gonna touch on. I thought that his humor did ruin some of the more touching moments.
Really?
Multiple times.
Okay, like what?
I can't remember exactly. I think while he was with the goat in the village, and I feel like something touching happened or whatever, and then like he said something dumb, and that happened like a couple times. I feel like, which is understandable. It's a kids' movie. They don't expect children to wallow in the emotion of the moment like adults do. So, but yeah, that's not really it's not a complaint because it's not like shocking that it happened, but.
Yeah, I mean, what do you feel like? I guess an interest. I mean, we don't have to like make a big conversation out of this right now, but like with Sokka in The Last Airbenders, we had that complaint, especially towards the end, because there were just moments where it's like, oh, that was really dumb, but whatever. I guess like at what point a character should stay true to themselves in the writing, even if it might quote unquote ruin a moment versus not. Like for me, Poe is more tolerable in those kinds of moments.
Really?
Because the story's about Poe and his interactions with everything. Whereas I think The Last Airbender was more of a meta kind of thing, and bringing Sokka there to just kind of trash talk the Fire Lord. Even though maybe it wasn't his character, just having him there was maybe that wasn't necessarily the right choice.
Yeah, I think that for me it bothered me more in Kung Fu Panda because it affected me more emotionally what happened in Kung Fu Panda. Whereas Avatar was like, oh, this is, just a story. It's not really pulling at my heartstrings a lot. But like in Kung Fu Panda, my heartstrings were pulled out a lot. And I was like, but Poe ruined it a couple times.
I'm sorry. Bad Poe. Bad Poe.
I know. Which is fine, I guess. But that's how I feel.
Okay. For writing for this one, I would give it a 4. So this is a notch down from the first one. I think a lot of the writing in this is very good and excellent. In some ways, better than the first one. Excuse me. But there are a couple things in it that do bring it down to a 4 because they're a little more generic and not as three-dimensional as it could be. Like Lord Shen, even though I really like him as a villain and think it's a very interesting contrast to Poe, I think they did make him more one-dimensional than Tai Lung.
Really?
Yeah, because I think Tai Lung had the motivation of, motivation that was kind of started by Shifu.
And I guess Lord Shen, literally had no motivation other than being a psychopath.
Yeah, like literally he was raised by 2 loving parents and he realized that, fireworks can do bad things, and he became a bad guy, and then he kills all the pandas. Yeah.
It's pretty gnarly. He doesn't really have a tragic backstory.
Not really. I think there's a lot of writing about him that is good, like the traditional trope of, trying to prevent something from happening, like a prophecy is exactly what leads to it happening, kind of thing.
It's hard to prevent something that's been predicted.
I know. I think the dynamic between him and Poe in the sense of like how they responded to their, I guess like their relationship to their parents was interesting because Shen did come from a loving family in a perfect situation, but he interpreted it as, his parents hated him and it was just, whatever. But Poe had a very dramatic backstory, but like that didn't necessarily change him from being a good person, so to speak.
A good panda.
A good panda. Yeah, the beginning of this movie, I think, was just kind of rushed and not super well written, and the dialogue was just kind of weird. Like I said, the villain was a little more one-dimensional in this one.
It was basically like, long ago, there was a peacock that realized that fireworks could explode things and became a psychopath.
And even after that, like the introduction leading right up to Poe and the Furious Five, having the how many things can you stuff in your mouth competition, like that was funny, but like the point leading up to it was a little like, okay, all right, that's just not great writing.
I don't remember that.
It was like the two kids, like basically like giving a summary of the first movie.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Over-explaining.
Yeah. But there was a lot of writing about this that was really good. Like Poe, like you mentioned, Poe's whole side quest of finding inner peace and kind of just how that all tied together. Not with just him finding... Oh, sorry.
Who knew that inner peace could be found just by standing somewhere and dancing slowly?
No, he could collect the raindrops because he had inner peace. The whole point was to have inner peace so you could do that. Shifu could do it because he had inner peace. Because, despite the fact that Poe becoming the Dragon Warrior was the worst possible thing that could have ever happened to him.
In his entire life. The worst thing.
The worst thing. So there was that whole character arc, but it led into not just Poe's character growth, but Poe literally being able to defeat the villain at the end. I thought that was neat because they took it one step further to a point where it's like, oh, it's kind of believable now. Like the laws of physics in these movies is questionable because one character can get hit by a cannonball and die, and another one has a frying pan and they're just fat and they don't die. So I mean, I don't know.
It's kind of hard.
It's kind of hard to tell.
Selective death.
Exactly. I liked Poe's and Tigress's relationship in this one a bit more. They really expanded upon that. Poe wanting to be hardcore like Tigress, but that's not necessarily who he is. I like the dynamic overall of the Furious Five. I think I don't like where they take them in the third movie, and that's if we ever get to the third movie. But I think Poe's influence on them is very obvious, and it's very fun to see how they're a little more of a loose team in a sense, and they're just happier and make jokes with each other. Yeah, I don't know if I have a whole lot more on writing, but yeah, it was good. A lot of it was very good. There was just some that to me just was kind of a little more generic, a little more cliche, but it didn't really take away from the enjoyment of the movie so much as just like, okay, that was awkward, but whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we go into content, where we weigh the negative content, like crassness, sexuality, and weigh it against the more positive elements, or the overall story, or essentially, I guess, who the story is catered to. Like, I guess if we were doing an R-rated movie versus like a PG movie, it could be different because the audience that it's going for is different. So what would you give this, Savannah, on a scale of 1 to 5?
Probably 4.5.
Really? So higher than the first one?
No, what did I give the first one?
The first one I think was a 4.
Okay, maybe a 4 then. I don't
know. I mean, if you feel 4.5.
I can't think of anything offensive other than scary moments, obviously. Sad moments, which would be the biggest warning I would give anyone.
Yeah.
Sad baby panda abandonment and stuff, and lots of crying, realistic baby crying, which was
crying.
not good for my mental health. other than that, like, there wasn't any, like, language or anything. Not really any rude humor that I remember. Not any, obviously, no sexuality. Or, like, yeah, anything like that. So, yeah, I'd say 4.5. Outside of scary moments.
Yeah. And would the fighting, because it's kung fu film, weigh into that at all?
I rarely consider the violence in a movie unless it's like extremely overtly violent, like Shawshank Redemption.
Well, that doesn't count because that's not overly violent.
Well, no, I mean like that's just more. That's like that. Like in this movie, like comic fighting and like stuff like that doesn't bother me because it's not really violent. It's like punching bad guys and then they get knocked out and then they walk away. Or do they?
Or do they?
I said I'd say 4.5.
Okay. I'd probably give this one a 4. Just because, once again, it's centralized. The theme is kung fu, which naturally means there's going to be fighting, and some people may have a problem with that. We don't, personally. I'd give it a 4 because it is more dark and there is a little bit of violence, an implied violence.
I forgot about that scene where the rhino.
Yeah, the rhino gets shot, and then the bad wolf who decides to be good or not be good, but he won't obey Shen because he's going to shoot upon the other wolves to get rid of the panda or Po. I don't know if you remember that scene.
I do. Maybe I'll drop mine down to a 4 because I forgot about those scenes.
Yeah. And even where Po gets shot with it.
Panda.
Even when he gets shot with the cannonball, he doesn't die, obviously, but it's still kind of like, wow, okay. Dark. And the implied genocide of the pandas is pretty dark, too. So, yeah, I'd give it a 4.
Okay, I'll give it a 4, too.
But, yeah, I mean, younger audiences might be disturbed, but there's nothing in there that I think that's particularly offensive. Yeah, I feel like this would be a family movie for the most part, and obviously more sensitive young viewers might not want to watch it, but...
Or maybe they can just sit on their mommy's lap.
On their mommy's laps.
And hold their hand. Like I wish I could have done.
Do you wish you could have done that?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I wish I would have had my baby with me to snuggle and to hug.
The hug.
Yes.
Yeah, so that brings us to our overall ratings. Savannah, so you, I think, had a 4 and a 5 and a 4.5 and a 4. So what does that bring you to?
I'll just say 4.5.
Okay.
Yeah.
4.5. I think, yeah, I land at about 4.5 too.
4.52.
No, 4.5 as well. 4.52731.
Yes.
Very specific. Yeah, I think it was
a solid, good movie.
A solid movie. A good movie. I enjoy it. I enjoy this movie a lot. And like I said, a lot of it just has to do with the vibes appealing to me, the world building, the characters. Going back to writing for a second, something I forgot to mention, that brings it down to a 4 as well. In terms of generic, were the mass wolf villains being very like generic, and there's this trope, I forget what it's called. I think it's like the Stormtrooper paradox, but it's like having a faceless villain that essentially is useless and can just be beaten up and you move on your way, but they're just there for entertainment purposes.
Yeah.
That's kind of where the wolves fall into, and like they didn't really pose a real threat.
Would orcs fall into that category?
Kind of, in some ways.
But they're more damaging.
They are a bit more damaging, yeah. And there's not something necessarily inherently wrong with that in and of itself. Like if used well, the trope is fine. Like it didn't really bother me so much. It's just like I don't feel like the wolves ever really posed any threat to the Kung Fu warriors, so much as just Shen's scheming. Whereas the orcs in Lord of the Rings is like, I do feel like there's an actual threat happening here. So yeah, that also brings it down to 4. Anyway, back to our current topic, our present topic. Would you recommend this movie to anyone?
Sure.
Sure.
As much as I would recommend an animated movie to anyone.
Okay, you can't say that.
An animated children's movie.
Animated children's? You can't just say that.
I can't just say that.
You can't just say that.
Well, no, that's not the kind of movie. I mean, I would feel like I wouldn't recommend it.
I wouldn't call it a children's movie. I would call it a family film. Because a children's movie, in my opinion, would be something like
Winnie the Pooh.
No.
No?
I mean, I guess maybe Winnie the Pooh, which is fine. But it's just something that's, I mean, I don't know. I just feel like there's, to just use the term as much as I would recommend a children's movie to someone, this is very degrading.
No, I didn't mean it in a degrading way at all. Like, I'm just not one to recommend, like, I'd be like, oh, you should watch
Forrest Gump.
A Beautiful Mind, or you should watch...
For A Beautiful Mind, okay. That's a good one.
Yeah, not Forrest Gump. We've never seen Forrest Gump. Or you should watch, Oppenheimer or something. Like, I'd be like, oh, this is an interesting film to watch. Because the people I would recommend films to would not be the ones to, like, be like, let's watch. Like, if I were to recommend it to my mom or whatever. I'd recommend it to my siblings.
But not your mom.
Well, I don't know. I would be like, Mom, you need to watch this movie. Cry with me as we watch the baby panda cry.
Watch the baby panda cry? Wow.
Yeah. But no, I thought I would in short, yes, I would recommend it. I wouldn't
it wouldn't be at the top of your list.
No, I wouldn't recommend it as much as I would recommend Avatar, The Last Airbender. Or Klaus. From Netflix.
See, would you call that a children's movie?
It is a children's movie. But in both of those are like animated things. But
excuse me.
I enjoyed it.
There you go. Yeah, I probably am about where you are. Like, this would definitely not be in my top movies to recommend, but like, if it came up in conversation, like,
that's what I meant. That's what I meant to say. It just came out wrong.
As much as I would recommend a children's movie.
No. Yeah, whatever. It's late. It's 8:30.
It's okay. All right. So now Tom Hanks has to replace someone in this movie, and it can't be Shifu because he was the last time.
I didn't think about it as much this time. I'm kind of leaning towards a Mantis, or
really,
like one of the jail guys that refuse to get out of jail.
Okay.
Probably Master Ox.
Master Ox. Huh. Okay.
Or Master Croc.
So just in case we couldn't hear what happened in the last portion because Savannah might have been messing with her microphone, she essentially concluded that Tom Hanks should do Master Ox. Master Ox from the prison. So that's the conclusion there. Anyway, moving on.
I didn't think about that as much as I usually do.
Okay. So now we have to do a Bane impression.
Yes, you do.
You do too.
No, I don't. I don't know any lines from this movie.
You don't know any lines of this movie?
No.
You'll have to do a Swedish Chef impression though.
No.
Yes.
No.
So Bane impression. There's the line. Oh, I forever don't know all of it, but essentially, let the year of the peacock begin now. Let the year of the peacock begin now.
I could see Bane replacing the peacock in this movie.
Right now? It's like half the year. It's in the middle of the year.
Oh, that was
You only
funny.
get half the year of the peacock.
That was funny.
It is the year of the peacock. Happy New Year, sir.
That line was funny. That was yours.
Swedish Chef.
Nope.
You have to pick a line. Don't tell me where the egg comes from. No, sorry. No, that wasn't it. Don't ask me where the egg comes from.
I can't.
Where did the egg come from?
No, there's too many words in that one.
Okay. Where did the egg?
There you go. Good job.
Thank you. Very.
You get to be the impressionist.
Okay. Well, there you go. So that was our take on Kung Fu Panda 2. Let us know what your thoughts were in the comments. Do you agree with our ratings? Would you give them different ratings? Yeah, we're only posting on the YubTub.
The YubTub.
The YubTubs at this point, the TubYub. So leaving a comment, pretty easy. But yeah.
But does anyone do it? No.
No one does it because
no one listens.
No one listens.
Other than our mom. Your mom.
Shh.
It's okay. Hi, Mom.
Hi, Mom. Comment hi if you listen to this all the way to the end.
Comment hi if you're our mom. Not our mutual. We don't share a mom.
Oh, yeah. No, we do not. But yeah, thank you all for listening. We hope that this has inspired you to have more conversation around the movies you're watching. Yeah, once again, let us know what you think. We hope that you enjoyed yourselves, and we hope that you have a good evening. So until next time. Not and then, until next time.
Bye, guys.
Bye.